The Lilo and Stitch franchise is one that is near and dear to my heart. It was the first Disney film I ever watched alongside Aladdin, and I still have vivid memories seeing Stitch at Tokyo Disneyland when I was little. So you can imagine my surprise when I found that there's a whole ass Iceberg chart dedicated to Lilo and Stitch on Reddit. Shout out to YarpFan613 for making the chart as well as this write-up. I'm going to leave links to everything in the description. Now for this video, I'm going to be using both the explanation Google Doc YarpFan made, as well as my own personal experience and research. I feel like I love this series enough to put in my own 2 cents. Let's get into it. Level 1. All of the aliens in the first Lilo and Stitch movie are reminiscent of aquatic animals. Now, this is almost completely true. There's this one armadillo guy, but the series would continue to have other animal motifs throughout. I'd also like to add that the ships have an aquatic aesthetic as well. They resemble sharks and whales. Wait, are they the fucking Covenant? Rounded designs and watercolor imagery. This is explained in the behind-the-scenes documentary. It's a wonderful watch if you're a fan of the movie or animation in general. There's a quote from one of the artists that worked on the film.
Even in space, where you expect the technology to be very hard and cold and forbidding, everything's kind of round. The plasma guns are round. The ships themselves are kind of round and friendly.
Even the little explosions, we would have a tendency to draw those kind of as spiky, very sharp. We even inflated those. All the explosions are round and inflated and kind of blobby. Everything is blown up and puffy and more fun.
It is easier on the eyes when you see drawings that are rounded. Mickey Mouse is a perfect example. He's a character that's nothing but rounded shapes. People just subconsciously, they may not even realize why, but they love the character. They find it appealing, and it's because of the round and oval shapes. Whereas if you have too many angles and sharp corners on a character, it's a little harder to look at and maybe a little less appealing.
I think a lot of people look at the film and they notice that there's something really different about it. It doesn't look traditional Disney, and yet there's something really nostalgic about it. And that kind of exemplifies what we were trying to do with the film anyway.
We wanted to explore new territory, but in that and at the very same time, we wanted to return to what we felt was the touchstone of Disney, which is, I think, Bambi and the very first things they did. And I think that I'm proud that we accomplished that.
And I completely agree. I always feel like Lilo and Stitch kind of has this opposite effect for me of, I guess, in terms of liminal spaces. All of that watercolor imagery and all of the just colors in the film, they remind me of childhood memories that you look back fondly on, like the days that you spend playing outside until it gets dark. Like, yeah, it's a little melancholy, which I'll get into that later, but they don't really evoke that kind of unease that something like the Backrooms does. It's a different kind of liminal space, I feel like. Lilo and Stitch, the first movie that started the franchise, released in 2002, with this set of Happy Meal. Dear God, what the hell happened here? This is gonna get moved down to later in the video as its own entry. That was horrifying. Anyways, Kauai is the 4th largest island of Hawaii with a population of 73,298. It's the primary setting of the franchise minus some of the spin-offs. The town of Hanapepe in Kauai served as the primary inspiration for the town that Lilo lives in. That's basically it for the first layer. On to the next one. Live action adaptation. This movie was a piece of shit. Next. The Ice Cream Man is that guy with the sunglasses, board shorts, and the ice cream cone that keeps dropping or spilling. He's appeared in every movie and every television show. Now this entry could be talking about the live action adaptation Ice Cream Man, who is the only iteration of the character to be native Hawaiian. Usually he is a very sunburnt Caucasian man. Stitch has had many crossovers with many different Disney properties. These include marketing campaigns with these crossover trailers with movies like The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King. He would basically crash the trailers and get into hijinks. The series had 4 crossover episodes. Kim Possible, The Proud Family, Recess, Jake Long. Timon and Pumbaa also appear in cameos in the background. Stitch has an appearance in Brother Bear as a cameo joke outtake. It's one of those blooper things that Disney used to do. back in those days. There was a video on DVD that had Stitch crossing over with some more Disney films. It was in the bonus features. Both Lilo and Stitch appear in the Once Upon a Studio short film that Disney made for its 100th anniversary. There's a Mulan poster in Nani's bedroom, which implies that Disney exists in the universe. And Splody Head and Stitch appear in Big Hero 6 as pillows. It's worth noting that Disney also TP'd its castle, on the Disney World Castle specifically, during this Stitch event they had in the 2000s. Elvis Presley was a singer who famously starred in 2 movies taking place in Hawaii, those both being Blue Hawaii and Paradise Hawaiian Style. Both of them were filmed in Kauai. That's probably why Lilo is obsessed with him. Unfortunately, the hotel where the movie was filmed was destroyed by a hurricane. Supposedly, it's going to get restored. Finally, they apparently have enough money to do a renovation on it. It's going to open in 2028. We'll see what happens. I hope it does get restored. I know there is a lot of controversy about hotels in Hawaii, but I think this is an important piece of filmmaking and music history, and I think it should be preserved. But the bench he sat on is still intact. Angel 624 is Stitch's girlfriend. Her power is that she can make other experiments evil through her singing. She's like an evil Jigglypuff, although I will say she can reverse the evilness. She can turn people good again as well through singing.
No! You'll turn them back to good!
God, I don't know though, Stitch. Haven't you seen Pirates of the Caribbean? You gotta watch out for these girls with the nice voices, bro. They're not good for you.
Gotta believe in love!
Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch is a 2005 sequel to Lilo and Stitch. The movie involves the gang from the first movie dealing with this debilitating issue in Stitch's genetic code that causes him to revert back to his original programming before his body just completely shuts down. This movie makes me cry every time. Fun fact. I don't think you guys understand. Seeing this at the age of 3 broke me. Alright, we're gonna kill 3 birds with 1 stone for this entry. Stitch the movie was the pilot for the animated series that would later follow. It introduced a few of the characters that would later reoccur in the show, as well as the general theme of catching and rehabilitating the Jumba experiments. It's alright, it's got a lot of nostalgia. Leroy and Stitch was the following movie that pretty much acted as the series finale. All the experiments have been rehabilitated. It's a nice ending. I don't really have a whole lot to say about these movies. I haven't really watched either of them in a while. Maybe I'll rewatch them sometime. That's going to be it for the second layer. Now on to the third one. This is where the more niche stuff begins. Yuna and Stitch was the anime adaptation of Stitch, notable for relocating the character to Okinawa, as well as removing Lilo completely as a main character. It takes place in the future, and Stitch is partnered with this Okinawan girl named Yuna. It had 3 seasons, 2 post-series specials called Stitch the Planet of Sand and Stitch Perfect Memory. The first 2 seasons were animated by a studio called Madhouse. The premise was Stitch performing 43 good deeds, which can be lost, to get his wish granted by a magical stone. He also meets and befriends these various yokai and spirits that live on the island. The series and its spin-off also do a lot more fleshing out of the Galactic Federation and just the general space politics of the franchise. It's pretty interesting. The intro is also catchy as hell. Stitch and I is an adaptation of Stitch made for Chinese audiences, relocating the character to China, removing Lilo as the main character again. Now this time Stitch is partnered with a girl named Wang Ailing, an orphan Chinese girl that lives in the Huangshan Mountains with her older sister Jie. This time around Stitch is avoiding these 2 alien races known as the Djiboutis and the Woolagongs, who want to use him as a weapon to win a war against each other and crush the Federation. Stitch loses a lot of his memories before when he comes back to Earth in the first episode, and he tries to find this shrine that he's seen in visions. Disney, please make Stitch Wukong merchandise, and my life is yours. It is very hard to find English episodes of both Stitch the anime as well as Stitch and I. This isn't a problem if you speak the Nihongo, if you understand the language of the Nihon genes. And as for Stitch and I, the clothes dryer change was a censorship change that was made to the movie, where Lilo hides in a shelf with a pizza box instead of a clothes dryer. This was made out of fear of, oh, well, what if the kids hide in a clothes dryer? God, this kind of censorship, this kind of nanny state bullshit. I wonder if it's the usual suspects. Leave it to the fucking British to ruin everything. Hawaiian Pidgin is the Creole language spoken in Hawaii. It's a mix of English, Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, and Filipino. It's spoken in the series by characters pretty frequently.
Oh, man. Lilo. Lolo.
What do you think? Maybe... What you think?
Kingdom Hearts. Stitch and several other characters show up in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Pleakley has cross-dressed and is shown to be gender fluid, although it's never explicitly confirmed. This series has also gained popularity among the LGBT community for its themes of acceptance, inclusion, and diversity. A lot of people headcanon Lilo as neurodivergent, given her quote-unquote weirdness and interest in topics and general pastimes that other girls her age don't have, and we frequently see her clashing with other girls her age because of these things. Stitch Copies refers to several experiments that are designed to be inversions or reflections of Stitch in either physical appearance or ability, like Reuben, Leroy, especially 627, Angel. Whitewash Nani refers to a controversy following Sydney Elizabeth Agudong's casting as Nani in the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie. She is multiracial and has Hawaiian ancestry, but some people wanted her to be portrayed by someone more darker-skinned. Some people called it whitewashing, and that it took away opportunities from darker-skinned actors. I personally think that Nani in that movie had a lot more issues than her skin color. I think the biggest one was the fact that she lives on an island, but wants to go to San Francisco to study marine biology? Huh? In the 2005 movie Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, Davy Chase, rest in peace, was replaced with Dakota Fanning as the voice of Lilo. This was because Chase was busy doing the voice of Lilo for the animated series. That's going to be it for the third layer. Now on to the fourth one. Stitch Meets High School Musical was a Japanese animated parody music video crossover thing between Lilo and Stitch and High School Musical. I'm really glad this is online. I feel like this is something that had the potential to turn into lost media if it wasn't archived. The Origin of Stitch is an animated short included on the DVD of Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. It's got some appearances from other experiments, although they have the wrong numbers.
Secret evil experiments of Jumba Chukiva.
The short also reveals that Stitch is low-key the Indominus Rex.
Templates used to create Experiment 626. A fearsome manglioid of Meridian 4. A goo-gobbling booger beast. A people-eating Cosmonkey. A deadly disemboweler. A boiling tongoid. A bottom-feeding scum-sucker. Initiating simulation.
But of course it's Disney, and you know they have a sweet thing at the end, and it's nice. It's really nice, actually. I really like this short. Little special feature shorts like this are something that I really love about DVDs. Stitch is immortal refers to a theory that Stitch either ages slowly or he's completely immortal. In the episode Skip, Lilo skips to the future and becomes an adult, but Stitch is completely unchanged, so this implies that Stitch ages differently from other living creatures. For that matter, I assume that the other experiments are immortal as well. I don't know if they're immortal per se, because Stitch is shown to be averse to water because he can literally sink in it, and it's implied that he can drown. So I don't know if he's immortal, but it definitely seems like he does not age. Now, in the original intro for the Lilo and Stitch series, Stitch would say bye at the end. But it was changed later to him saying aloha.
Aloha!
Now, for some reason, Disney Plus still has the original bye line for all of the episodes, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure they're the ones who commissioned the change in the first place when it happened on television. And aloha means goodbye as well, so I don't know why they didn't just keep it after they made the change. I personally think it was a change for the better, and with as much as Disney loves to just mess around with things, especially related to like streaming and Disney Plus, I don't know why they didn't just keep it that way. There are a couple scenes from the first movie that were edited down to be less violent and less harrowing. We're gonna get into another example later, but the scene where Jumba attacks Lilo's house was originally way more violent and a lot scarier.
Stop you!
You're insane!
I do think if it was canon, it would be a funny conversation later in the series. Hey Lilo, remember when you almost got sliced in half by chainsaw? Good times, yes? We have to remember that Stitch was designed as a literal terror weapon that could rival a bomb. Pudge's death deleted scene refers to a deleted scene where this wild fish that Lilo likes to feed sandwiches to, called Pudge, ends up getting killed inadvertently by Stitch.
What's wrong with you? Pudge was part of our family! You don't let your family die! You don't ever!
It's pretty dark, and it is pretty upsetting. You can definitely tell why it was deleted. We're going to talk about some other deleted scenes later in the video, but this is definitely something to note, that the original movie was going to be a lot darker in tone and subject matter. Case in point, the racist tourist deleted scene. This refers to a scene where Lilo is walking on the beach and a bunch of Caucasian tourists come up and start gawking at her and taking pictures of her like she's a zoo animal.
Hey kid! Where's the beach? My halo!
Hey, speak English? Which way to the beach?
Oh look! A real native! Attention tourists! That is a tsunami siren! When you hear it, you better run! 'Cause they move faster than the speed of sound! And that is your only warning!
Isn't that cute?
Tourists, prepare to die!
Huh?
If you lived here, you'd understand.
And it's in this scene that we learn that the reason why Lilo takes pictures of all of the tourists is because the same thing usually happens to her every day. Now, unlike the Pudge scene, I actually wish that this was kept in the original movie. I think that nowadays, especially after the release of the live-action Lilo and Stitch, I don't think Disney has the balls to address this problem. So it's a little unfortunate that we'll probably never see this in any kind of movie or animated series, but it was later adapted into a canon comic. The pre-9/11 plane hijacking sequence refers to the final action scene of the first film. Now, in the movie, Jumba and Gantu are flying around through the mountains, and it's relatively low stakes, but in the original cut, Stitch, Pleakley, Nani, and Jumba hijack an airliner and fly it out to go rescue Lilo, and they're flying through the city, and they're dodging buildings and stuff, and obviously this was changed because 9/11 had happened less than a year prior to the movie's release. Stitch's gross refers to the initial marketing of Lilo and Stitch that really played up the gross characteristics of Stitch. Now, this is different from a lot of more modern merchandise and interpretations of the character that play up his cuteness or his connection with Lilo. Now, the negatively received ride, Stitch's Great Escape, was criticized for its use of gross-out humor. The Stitch animatronic would spit on you. There would be this chili dog burp that the audiences could really smell. Now, I remember going on this ride as a kid. I remember the chili dog smell. They would literally blast hot air on you with, like, the smell. And it just permeated through the entire ride. You could smell it, like, in the hallway. You could smell it in the entrance. You could literally smell it in the entire building. And that smell is just... it lingers in the same place at the back of my mind that the Pirates of the Caribbean water does. And here's my confession. I loved going on this ride every time because I loved seeing the Stitch animatronic. Magic Candle Company, if you're watching this, the people demand a Stitch's Great Escape chili dog scented candle. Dr. Hamsterville, the main antagonist from Lilo and Stitch the series, as well as several spin-offs, makes a cameo appearance in the first movie as an inmate, as well as in Stitch and I as a laborer on some kind of prison camp. Is a phrase that Stitch says in the first movie that offends the Galactic Council. There's no canon translation for it, but it's generally accepted that it's some kind of very offensive term. It literally makes this robot guy throw up. Anytime it's said, an alien character in these movies usually expresses offense. Japan Hates Lilo is a meme that was popularized about how the Japanese market and other markets supposedly dislike Lilo, given how present Stitch is in a lot of marketing and merchandise versus Lilo. There was a whole Japanese anime made where they cut Lilo out and replaced her with Yuna, and this completely changed the setting to Japan. Now, I will say, as a Japanese person, I don't think Japan hates Lilo. I just think that compared to Western audiences who really like the charm and heart of Lilo and Stitch's relationship in the movies and like the show, Eastern audiences seem to like the idea of the experiments themselves and focus more on them in merchandise and theme park stuff. But I've seen plenty of Lilo merchandise in Japan. Stitch's Great Escape was a ride that we mentioned earlier. It was a ride at Disney World that replaced Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter. Now, Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter was where you basically got in a theater, and instead of Stitch being teleported into the room with you, it was this giant winged xenomorph thing that would fly around. It would like land on you, it would drool on you, and it would eat a guy. Not really, it was all an effect, but it would play crunching noises and they would spray hot water on you to make you think that there was like blood splashing on you. I'm really bummed that I couldn't experience this. I was born just a little bit too late to experience this, unfortunately. But anyways, back on topic. Stitch's Great Escape was a reskin that Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter received. It opened to a very poor reception. Fans of Alien Encounter were upset that it had been replaced by something that they viewed as inferior and more kid-friendly, and parents were still upset that a lot of the darker elements of Alien Encounter were still used in the ride, such as the lights turning off completely, the general terror of having something running around in the room, sensory attacks. Basically, no one was happy with this ride. Parents didn't like it because it was still pretty scary, and fans of the original thought it was a huge downgrade. As much as I loved the ride as a kid, would 100% trade it for Alien Encounter, I think that this was a downgrade. Unfortunately, I don't think Disney has plans to bring back either attraction, as it is now being used as a break room. I'm not making that up, and this is what Stitch looks like now. Stitch was originally envisioned as a gang leader. There's even art of this in the concept booklet. Now this was changed because Roy Disney, of all people, believed that Stitch was more appealing when he had that kind of childlike naivety to him, that kind of baby-like quality. I think that was the word he used specifically. Roy felt that the character was a lot less appealing when he behaved like a grown-up and when he was fully lucid. Stitch was then changed to be a genetic experiment, and all of his alien gang members were either removed or written into other characters like Gantu. The Boxing Day tsunami refers to an earthquake and tsunami that occurred in 2004 on December 26th, the day after Christmas, which is often celebrated in many countries as Boxing Day. It killed nearly 228,000 people and affected Malaysia, India, Indonesia, the Maldives, Myanmar, Somalia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, as well as other countries in South Asia and Africa that were in proximity to the Indian Ocean. The nature of this disaster caused Lilo & Stitch 2 Stitch Has a Glitch, as well as the episode of the animated series Ace, to be heavily altered. Now originally, the episode Ace featured an experiment known as Cannonball that caused a huge tidal wave, so that was altered pretty drastically just due to how close it was to the incident occurring. As for Lilo & Stitch 2, there was an original opening sequence. According to an animator, originally Stitch would use a spaceship to whip up a tsunami and crash it onto a beach full of screaming people. Everyone got washed away and he would wake up in a panic. Then the Boxing Day tsunami happened. Needless to say, the scene was changed. And now, for the final entry in the fourth layer, we're going to be doing an entry of my own creation, and that is the Happy Meal toys. So okay, we're going to take a look at the first wave here. These released in June and July to coincide with the release of the first film. There are 7 toys in the line. We've got Cobra, who's probably the least cursed looking out of all of them. We have Lilo, who has this permanent expression of silent pain on her face. We have the Grand Councilwoman doing the 6-7. We have Jumbo holding a gun. We have Gantu, who looks like he's... We have Eyeless Pleakley. We have Nani from the Backrooms. And we have... Dear God. They predicted the live-action one. Holy shit. I actually looked for videos to see what this Stitch toy does because I was just so morbidly curious. And apparently it's like those alligator dentist toys where you have to push down on the right teeth to prevent his mouth from closing on you. That didn't do anything to reassure me whatsoever. There was another set of Happy Meal toys released in 2002. These were just keychains. I don't really have a whole lot to say about these. These ones aren't really that cursed. Except for Cobra. What the hell did they do to you, bro? There was a set released in 2004 that involved Play-Doh. There was another set released in 2002, this one for the Japanese market. It was sold exclusively in Japanese McDonald's, and from what it looks like here, it appears to be a bunch of little play sets that all combine together into one big play set. In 2022, to coincide with the 20th anniversary of the film, McDonald's re-released these little pillow keychains. They're pretty cute. They kind of suffer from the modern Happy Meal toy issue of being really boring, though. They don't really do a whole lot besides dangle from a backpack. And now I'm missing weird alligator chomp Stitch thing. And that is going to wrap up this first half of the Lilo & Stitch Iceberg. Next episode, we're going to be talking about the 5th, 6th, as well as the bonus entries. So make sure to tune in for that. I know I've kind of been away for a while. I know I keep doing these hiatuses, and hopefully I'm going to be back for real this time. Hopefully, I can actually really just start getting back into the swing of things and making videos at a consistent schedule. To my understanding, I don't have any plans or anything in the foreseeable future that's going to change that. I've got a big project coming up for the Out There podcast. I'm going to be rebooting the show. More details about that will come when the video comes. For now, though, I will see you all in the next video.